Hey everybody, real quick before we get started with the video, I wanted to give a quick thank you and a huge shout out to another YouTube channel called Derek's Horror Stuff. He's got a really cool channel here on YouTube. I discovered him recently and I subscribed because he's got a lot of cool content that I really enjoy and I'm sure you will enjoy as well. And he just recently uploaded his top 5 autographs that he has in his collection, and I totally got this idea from him. This was thought of and inspired because of his video. I enjoyed it so much I thought I would do my own and put my own little style and twist on it. So please go check him out. There's a link in the description down below. Let's get into it. No, definitely not. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mike, and in this video I'm going to be going over 5 of my favorite horror autographs that I've ever gotten, and we're going to go a little bit into some stories about how I got them and what it was like interacting with some of these celebrities that I did meet at conventions and whatnot. This is definitely going to be a different style video, as you could tell, where I'm positioned, more lean back, just kind of hanging out. I'm telling some stories, and will probably be a little bit longer than my usual video. So first and foremost, if you guys are new here and you like this content, if you like horror, if you've seen some things you like on the channel, please subscribe. Please like my videos to spread the word. And if you like this style, put it down in the comments below, and we will definitely do more things like this. All that being said, let's slice right into this. So the first autograph I want to talk about is from Doug Bradley, the gentleman who portrays Pinhead in all but 2, I believe, of the Hellraiser movies. He is the original, he's the OG, he is Hellraiser, he is Pinhead. Now, I did not get a chance to meet Doug Bradley in person. He, shortly after COVID had hit, he started announcing a virtual convention where you could go on his website and you can purchase an 8x10 autograph from him, and then you could ask him a question and he'd email you a video telling you, answering your question and saying hello to you and whatnot. And I kind of thought to myself, well, that's pretty cool, like I can look back on this years and years from now, and not that anyone wants to remember this pandemic, but I can think about that. And, Mr. Bradley's getting older and older, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get the chance to meet him in person, so I thought this was the next best thing. And the question that I asked him was there ever any talks of doing a Pinhead versus movie, versus anybody? And I really, really wanted to play you guys the clip that he sent me, but because of the user agreement and stuff, I can't post it. If you really do want to see him answer the question, hit me up privately on Instagram and I will show you the video. Just because, I want more people to see it. It's cool. I've watched like 1,000 times, whatever. But he said that indeed, yes, there was. I guess immediately after the success of Freddy vs. Jason, Dimension Films, who had owned had the rights to both Hellraiser and Halloween, they wanted to do a Halloween and Hellraiser crossover film. And Doug said that he talked to Clive Barker on the phone about it several times, and he was going to write it. And he had heard through word of mouth that John Carpenter, happy birthday by the way, would direct the movie. So Clive write it, John direct it. Oh, it would have been amazing. But then somewhere down the line, one of the producers of the original 1973 Halloween did not like the idea, did not want the crossover to happen, and that killed it dead, and he never heard about it ever again. So to think we were maybe, this close or so to getting a Halloween and Hellraiser crossover, Halloween, I think would be a cool name for it, would have been sick. Fortunately, never happened, probably never will, especially not with Doug Bradley portraying Pinhead. So that kind of sucks, but nonetheless, it's a really cool autograph, as you can see here. I asked him to put "We'll Tear Your Soul Apart," and it's a really cool autograph, and I'm proud to have it as part of my collection. All right, the next autograph I want to talk about is one of my personal favorites. Now, mind you, this list is not in any specific order. It's just 5 of my favorites. Honestly, they all mean something different to me, but I just picked 5 that I thought would be the coolest stories or the best interactions. So Ken Kersinger, of course, if you know me personally or you are familiar with my channel and seen some of my other videos, you know that I have an eternal, deep-rooted love for Freddy vs. Jason. And I love the portrayal of Ken Kersinger as Jason. That may be controversial to a lot of people, but I really did enjoy his portrayal a lot. And I was probably 13, 14, maybe 12, 13, or 14, something like that, when Freddy vs. Jason came out, and I just fell in love with it. You guys know the story. And I always wanted to meet, obviously, Robert Englund, but I wanted to meet Ken Kirzinger too, because Jason is probably my favorite, horror slasher of all time. If it really boiled down to it, I had to pick. And I figured, well, if I ever get a chance, I'm going to take it. Well, sure enough, in August 2017, he was doing a convention in Chicago, and I could not miss it. My wife was pregnant at the time with our second child, and she was due any day. Any day she was due. But I could not pass the chance to go meet him in person. And as you can see, it was amazing to me. You can see the smile on my face, how happy I was to meet him. And I don't get nervous when I meet people, I don't get starstruck. I don't act like an idiot. I'm like, oh my God, it's Ken Kirzinger, dude, I loved you. Oh my God, shake my hand. Oh, I act like a human being. I walk up to him. I thank him for his work. I ask him whatever I want to ask him or tell him what I want to tell him. He's human just like the rest of us. He may have a cooler job than the rest of us, but he's just human, right? So I had a lot of fun with that, meeting him, and I was a little nervous. There was one person in front of me, but I got up to his table and I just said, man, it's an honor to meet you. I've been wanting to meet you since I was like 13 years old, and I loved your portrayal. And he was autographing an 8x10 for me and a Jason mask, as you can see in the picture, that I had asked him to autograph for me as well. And he stopped signing and looked up at me and said, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And he said that, he does catch his fair share of shit for being Jason and Kane wasn't and whatnot. And I told him flat out, I said, I love Kane Hodder as well. He's one of my favorite Jasons. But I said, I really, really enjoyed your portrayal. And you are in my top 2 Jasons ever, And he seemed to really enjoy that. And so we're kind of going back and forth or whatever. Very, very nice guy. And I had actually, for whatever reason, I showed him a picture on my phone of my daughter and I wearing hockey masks together. And he thought it was the coolest thing ever. And he said, can I borrow this? And he took my phone and he walked around the convention floor and he started showing the other celebrity guests the picture. I see people laughing and, oh my God, he's pointing me out yeah, it's that guy over there, Michael or whatever. And he was showing people. So that was really cool. And I shook his hand and I thanked him, and he was the coolest guy ever. And I got a pro photo op with him as well. And I asked him if he could hold the mask, for the picture. And he did. He was super cool, super nice guy. If you guys ever get a chance to meet Ken Kirzinger, go meet him, because he's such a cool guy. And I guarantee you will not be disappointed. All right, next up on the docket here, I'm going to talk about my autograph from Jonathan Breck, the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers, the same guy that has portrayed the Creeper in all 3 films. Now, again, I'm not here to debate the whole Victor Salva debate. I'm not talking about Victor Salva. I did not shake hands with that man. It is not about him. It is strictly about Jonathan Breck and his wonderful performance. And not only that, but just how cool of a guy he was. Once again, there was a convention in Chicago. It was Days of the Dead in Chicago, and I believe it was November. And my wife came with me because there were some people there she wanted to meet from her favorite TV series, Sons of Anarchy. I also got to meet Kane Hodder again. My children got to meet Kane Hodder. And so that was super cool. But I approached Jonathan Breck's table, and the first thing I said to him, I introduced myself, shook his hand, and I said, man, I'll be getting a 4th movie. And he said, man, I hope so. We're trying to push it through, but the 3rd one didn't do so well, and we're trying. And I'm like, oh, man. So we're going back and forth. My wife is talking. We're jumping in, having such a good time with him. And the thing I really take away from this, besides of how cool and how nice he was I actually, I'm just talking. I'm like, man, I just, I want to know what the Creeper is, at the end of the last one, they said, we know what you are. And, the Creeper kind of fell to his knees and whatnot. And Jonathan Breck, now, he's an actor. He could have been fucking with me. But my wife and I are convinced that he was dead serious. He, puts his arms on the table. He looks dead at me. He goes, do you want to know what he is? I'm like, what, for real? For real? He goes, I'll tell you what the Creeper is right now if you want to know. And I'm like, no, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to be spoiled. Don't spoil it. Don't tell me. But I'm convinced he was going to tell me right then and there. I know you're watching this thinking bullshit, but I'm telling you, he was going to tell us right then and there what the Creeper was. And he thought my children were just the cutest things. And he was just such a cool guy, man. Obviously, I got the picture with him. He had a head that they use in one of the films, like some casted prototype of the head that we got to take the photo op with, which was super cool, man. Such a cool guy, man. He was so down to earth and so cool and just so willing to talk to me. It wasn't one of these, you know, he signed the 8x10 and he goes, oh, thanks for coming, and you just walk away. Oh, thanks. There goes $100 or whatever it costs. It wasn't that much, but whatever it cost. But I mean, he was more than willing, man, to just talk to me, talk to my wife, interact with my kiddos, and just have a good time and really make my experience meeting him all worth it in the end. So my wife and I were walking the convention, and we couldn't get this one thing out of our mind, that he had these beanie caps. I'm a big fan of beanie caps, and it said "Be Eating You," obviously the Creeper's license plate, and he had beanie caps like that. We're like, man, those are really cool. So we went back and we actually bought, I think, 2 of them. I got one, and my youngest daughter got one, I believe. And we went back and got those. And as soon as I came back to his table, now mind you, this is like almost 2 hours later, and he probably met all these different people and whatnot. And I came walking past his table again, and I walk up to it, and he goes, Michael, right? And I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, how are you? He goes, you're back. I'm like, yeah, man. I couldn't leave without getting one of these freaking awesome, one of these awesome hats. So bought 2 hats from him. My daughter put one on, and he asked if he can get a picture of my daughter with the hat to put it in some I don't know if it's like a Jeepers Creepers fan page thing. You might be thinking, oh, that's weird. No, it was all innocent. The guy's super cool. I loved meeting him. It was definitely one of my favorite experiences at a con for sure. Jonathan Breck, if you ever get a chance to meet him, Jeepers Creepers, do it, because he's a blast. He's a super cool guy. You won't be disappointed, I guarantee it. Alright, the next autograph I want to talk about, you guys, is definitely a holy grail in my collection. And I would say probably in the top 2 holy grail autographs I've ever gotten. My other holy grail, I would say, would be Warwick Davis, who portrays the Leprechaun, which was not in person. I ordered it through him personally on a website. Never got to talk to him, never got to ask him any questions or anything, so I didn't put it on the list here because there's not much of a story behind it. But Chucky, Brad Dourif, I did get to meet in person at a convention. They had it was in Chicago again, and they had a lot of the Chucky cast there. That's where I met Christina Elise, Alex Vincent, Fiona Dourif, and Brad Dourif, and Tom Holland was there as well. And I could not wait to meet him. I stood in a long line waiting to meet him, and I'm coming up in line, and I'm picking my 8x10, and I was just like, man, I'm really excited to meet him. And it's kind of sad, because obviously everybody gets old and the body breaks down and whatnot. But, when I went to meet him, there's a lady in front of him that actually asks you for your name and how you want it to be spelled and whatnot. And she writes it on a piece of paper, and then she gives it to him because he's very hard of hearing. And it sucks, but he's getting older, and it's a part of life and whatnot. But yeah, so she had slid in the paper, and he looked up at me and said, "Oh, Michael." He goes, "Nice to meet you." And I shook his hand, and I just, again, I thanked him. I said, "Man, you've changed my life, as Chucky. It means a lot to me." And he was kind of nodding his head and saying, looking up at me and saying thank you and whatnot. And I asked him, I said, because I'm a big Versus guy. In case you haven't been able to tell yet thus far on my channel and whatnot, I'm a big Versus guy. And I said, hey, would you ever do a Chucky versus Leprechaun movie? And he looks up at me and he says, if Don Mancini tells me to do it, I'm going to do it. And I was like, man, that is so cool. And I had a big smile on my face. I said, man, I hope someday that would be so cool. And he stood up and he said, thank you so much for coming out. It was a pleasure meeting you, Michael. And he shook my hand again. And I went to take a picture with him. And he, as you can see, put his arm around me. And I was just on top of the world for meeting him. It was so much fun. Such a cool guy, man. Such a cool guy. Such a professional. When you think of how many thousands, if not millions of times he's had to sit at a table, person after person after person after person after person, and he's just such a professional. He's such a cool guy, and it's an experience I will never forget, ever, for as long as I live. Alright, and the fifth autograph I want to tell you guys about is the first time I met the icon himself, Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder was the first, horror celebrity I ever met And again, it was in Chicago. There was a convention going on. I've never met any of them before. I never had an autograph. I tried to meet Robert Englund a little while before that, and I ended up just getting screwed out of it because anyone that knows me in my personal life, and I'm going to start sharing with you guys here because I'm a very open book. You know, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm just that kind of guy. You know, I just have this crazy reputation for just having the shittiest luck when I go places. Wrestling events, conventions, concerts. I just end up getting fucked out of something or screwed over in the most hilarious ways, and it happens all the time. So I tried to go meet Robert Englund, drove 2.5 hours out to this Hollywood Palms thing, ended up getting screwed over, didn't meet him, nothing, blah, 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 blah. Another story for another time. But so I never met any horror celebrities before. This was my very first one, was going to meet Kane Hodder, so I was nervous. I was driving out there, I was nervous. I was like, oh man, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to address him, you know. Do I call him Kane? Do I call him Mr. Hodder? Do I not specifically reference him? Like, I didn't know. I was just so nervous. And I got to the convention, and I'm looking around, and I cannot find Kane's table anywhere. I just can't find him. And instantly I start thinking, okay, here we go. I drove all the way out here. He's the only person I'm here to meet. Like, I'm going to get screwed out of this. Like, this is my luck. This is my luck. What the hell? I even asked a staff member. I said, hey, do you know where Kane Hodder's table is set up at? And he goes, no, you know, I haven't seen him. He hasn't come down. I don't know. You know, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, motherfucker. You know, like, I'm not going to get to meet him. Here we go again. This is my luck, right? What else is new? So I'm kind of standing there, and I'm like right at a corner. You know what I mean? I'm right, like, I'm in the hallway right where the corner is to go down the other way. And I'm standing there. I'm like, mother trucker. So then I kind of look up, and I see, boom, Kane Hodder. I see his banner on the wall. But there's nobody there. No Kane, nobody in line, nothing. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So then a girl comes walking up, and she's like, are you in line for Kane? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. Do you know if he's here? She's like, yeah, he's just running late. He's upstairs in his hotel room, but he's coming down. And I'm like, oh, cool. You know, but then I started really getting nervous. And she's like, you want to go first and everything? And I was like, oh, no, please go ahead, you know, because I kind of wanted to see her interaction with him first, because I was new to all this, and I was kind of nervous. And I'm standing there, and I'm kind of like looking down the one hallway, and somebody grabs my arm and kind of pulls it like this, and I'm still looking this way, and I kind of turn my head like, who the hell grabbed me? And it's Kane fucking Hodder. He's got me by the arm because he's looking at my tattoo. If you don't know, he's an Insane Clown Posse fan, same music I enjoy, that I love, and he was looking at my tattoo, and he was like, oh, the Wraith. He goes, that's tight, I like that, it's one of my favorite albums or whatever. And I'm just like I said, I don't get nervous, I don't freeze up, but it was my first one, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, man, like, yeah, absolutely, mine too. So then he sits down, instantly starts joking with us, and made me feel so comfortable. So comfortable. Someone had left him a gift on the table. It was like a little black box. And he's looking at the box, and he's shaking it, and he goes, did somebody leave me a gift? You know, and the girl's like, oh, it wasn't me. And he looks at us, and he goes, it's not nudies, is it? And I start laughing. I'm like, well, I said, I promise I didn't leave you any nudies. And he leans in and he goes, well, let's hope not. You know, and I just start laughing, and he just made me feel so comfortable. So the girl went first. She met him, blase, blase. And then I was up. And let me tell you guys, Kane Hodder is such a cool guy. He's such a fan, man. Such a fan of just horror and all this, because he literally just leaned back in his chair. He just leaned back, man, he's laughing, and what I'm talking to him about, we're going back and forth, talking about Hatchet, talking about Friday the 13th. I told him how much I love Jason X, and I said, man, I love Jason X, and that's why I picked out this 8x10. I said, I love Jason X so much. I don't care what anybody says. He goes, you know what? Fuck what they say, because I like it too. You know what I mean? Kane was just such a cool guy, autographed it to me, and he says, to Michael, see you in hell. And the reason why he wrote that was because he saw my Jason Goes to Hell shirt. And he's looking at my shirt as he's about to autograph. He goes, you liked seeing me in hell, didn't you? And I'm like, yeah, it was a good movie. And he goes, well, you know what, Michael? I'll see you there. And he writes, see you in hell. Such a cool guy, man. And, of course, at the bottom, as you can see, that MCL. It's Much Clown Love. It goes with the whole Insane Clown Posse stuff. If you're not aware, it doesn't matter. But he actually gave me a little bit of a discount on the autograph for being a fan of the music and a juggalo. So He's just such a cool guy, man. I'm just talking to him. He's leaning back. We're just chopping it up. And he made me feel so comfortable right out the gate. Now, let's get to the elephant in the room. You've been looking at this picture of me getting the infamous choke from Kane Hodder. You're probably wondering a couple things. Number one, does he really choke you? And number two, why do I look like an idiot? Like, why do I look like, I'm looking at the picture off screen here, why do I look like a dandelion about to get his head popped off that possibly had a stroke? Let me explain. The whole time going there, I knew he was going to choke me. That's Kane's thing. I don't think he does it anymore because I understand there was a lawsuit. He had an issue with it or whatnot. Somebody tried suing him. But his thing was you get choked by Kane Hodder, which I thought was amazing. I got choked by Jason Voorhees. I'm proud of it. I love it. I don't care if it makes me a weirdo. I don't give a shit. I love it. So I knew he was going to choke me. So the whole time driving there, I'm like, okay, he's gonna put his hands on my throat. I gotta look scared because you can't be like, you look like a fucking idiot. I have to look scared, right? So when he gets up and he goes, "You want a picture?" And I said, "Yes, sir, of course." He said, "You know I'm going to choke you." And I'm like, "I've been waiting a long time for it, sir." And he comes up and he takes his big ass fucking hand, he grabs the back of my neck, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was kind of like instantly like, "Whoa," you know what I mean? Because he really grabbed me, and then he takes his other hand and just clasps my throat. Now I'm still in my head. I'm still trying to look scared. But I'm so happy that this is actually happening that I'm smiling but trying to look scared at the same time. And then when he squeezed my throat, you put all those three things together, that's that face. That is why I have that face in that picture. You know, it is what it is, but he's such a cool guy. And as I was walking out of the convention, I walked away so happy. As I'm walking away, I see a guy selling, little cheap it's not fake, plastic Jason masks for $20. I said, "Hey, I'll take that mask." And I went back to his table again, stood in line, and I'm waiting. And he saw me. He goes, "Oh," he goes, "back again." He goes, "What, are you stalking me?" And I was like, no, not at all. I said, I just couldn't leave without getting you to please autograph a Jason mask for me. I'd really appreciate it. Autographed it. We chit-chatted again. Again, it's been years, so, excuse me. It's been a while to know what we said the second time around, but he didn't even charge me for it. He autographed it, and he just kind of like, he goes, "Have a nice day." He goes, and I remember walking away, and I stopped, and I thought to myself, I didn't pay. And I turn around and look at him, and he's just talking to the next person, and I'm like, shit. He didn't even charge me for it. Super cool guy. Kane Hodder is an icon. He's a legend. Everybody on this list was super cool. I've never had a bad experience at a convention. Christina Elise, Alex Vincent, Kane Hodder, Jonathan Breck. I'm looking around the room here. I met Ken Kersinger a second time. I mean, any of these people, I've never had a bad experience. They're all super cool. Catherine Isabel, I got up here. Fiona Dorff back here. Everybody is so cool. Well, there you have it, you guys. That was me and some of my pretty cool stories, I feel like, about 5 of my favorite horror autographs amongst my collection. Hopefully there's more to come. I was going to have a lot more this year. I was going to have a lot of more stories and a lot more autographs from all of the Saw actors and actresses because there was a reunion going on. But COVID decided to fuck me and everybody else. So I didn't get those, but never fear. There are coming someday. So again, if you guys like this video, please like it. Please subscribe if you're new. Put down in the comments below. Number 1, did you like this style video? Number 2, do you have some autographs to show off of your own? Do you have some stories of your own, positive, negative? Put them all down in the comments below. I read and respond to every single comment, and I always will for as long as I possibly can. Follow me on Instagram, you guys, if you want a more personal look at my life of horror, if you want to make video requests, if you just want to shoot the shit and talk about horror. That's what we're all here to do, right? And again, guys, don't forget, once I hit 200 subscribers, I'm going to launch something that is going to bring this community a little bit closer together. It's all part of the grand plan to make a community because it's not about me. It's about us. Thank you guys so much for watching again. My name is Mike, and this is my design.